There are plenty of great words in gardening, and a few of my favourites, they relate to seed germination. There's radicle, that is the first shoot that comes out of a seed, it's the root. There's imbibe, that's the way it takes in water. And of course, there is the dibber, and you're going to need one of those if you have seed germination success. But it's not just the words that are really great when it comes to germination. The process is quite amazing. I mean, you can grow almost anything from seed. You can grow natives, you can grow perennials, and of course, you can grow a towering gum tree with all the information it needs packed into something that really looks like a speck of dust. But most of us hone our skills of seed raising in the veggie garden, and it's a great place to do it. The first thing you need is a container, and you really can use anything. Egg cartons, or you can make paper pots, or of course use some seedling punnets. Now the important thing is that they're clean if you're reusing, so give them a scrub, a bit of water, and then leave them in the sun for a couple of hours. And a little bit of metho, make sure it's sterile. Seed raising mix needs fine particles to make even contact with the seed, and it needs to drain freely. Of course you can buy it, or you can make it. And there are plenty of recipes on our website. So this is a variety of lettuce that I've saved myself. So from the original packet of seed I purchased, I've literally had thousands of seeds. A general rule with sowing seed is they need to be buried about twice as deep as they are wide, which is easy with a big seed. You poke a hole and you drop it in. But with little seed like lettuce and some of your brassicas, you're much better off just to sprinkle it over the surface. Now, really important here is not to sow too thickly. Don't overdo it. In the case of a lot of the older varieties of lettuce, they actually need light to germinate. So a good little thing to have in your kit is this. It's an expanded clay material. It's called vermiculite. I break it up a little bit and sprinkle it over the surface. So that just helps to hold the seeds in place when you water, keep them a bit moist in warmer weather. Now all you need to do is pop them in a warm and sheltered position, give them a drink and wait for the magic to happen. A seed contains everything it needs to germinate. The first root, first shoot, and the energy needed to fuel them. The first thing to emerge is the root, called the radicle. The radicle soaks up moisture, which fuels the emergence of the first shoot. The first leaves are called cotyledons. It's when the second leaves appear that you're ready for the next step. You can see that really distinct difference between the leaves on the kale here. You've got the cotyledons, which are still at the base. They're almost a heart shape, whereas the new growth is starting to look like a red Russian kale. The same thing is happening on this lettuce, which I planted from seed a couple of weeks ago. Now, the seed leaves, the cotyledons, are quite small and round, but you can see just as this new leaf is emerging, it's kind of the bronze copper colour of this particular variety. This is the indicator that they are absolutely ready to be moved out. If you leave them in this crowded situation, they don't have enough nutrients, they might damp off, which is basically a fungal disease that'll wipe out the whole punnet very quickly. So you need to learn to prick out. Use your dibber to carefully lift the seedlings out of the soil. You want to hold them by the cotyledon, not by the true leaves, and definitely not by the stem, as you can cause permanent damage. I've used the dibber to make holes, and then I'm gently guiding the roots in. I am being pretty careful, but they are more robust than they look. Some people, they meditate, others do a bit of colouring in. I do pricking out. Different plants will need different spacings to develop, but for lettuce, I squeeze about 6 or 8 plants in a small punnet, or 10 in a big one like this. I've added a bit of organic slow-release fertiliser to make sure they are not held back in any way. I want these to fly. Put the seedlings into a spot that receives morning sun only for a couple of weeks before moving them out into the full sun. This is called hardening off and gets them ready to transition from punnet to patch. Learning to identify and care for young seedlings will also come in handy when bonus plants pop up in the garden. One of the great benefits of learning to do that in a controlled situation is you can transfer some of those skills to the garden. When you let things go to seed, you'll get, of course, lots of seedlings coming up. And by understanding what they look like when they germinate, then you can recognise them in the garden. You can, of course, prick them out, pot them up and give them away. And from one little packet of seed, you get thousands of plants, that first generation, but then year after year as you continue to save and grow them. And that means loads of plants for your own garden, but also to share with friends. So give it a grow.